Thursday, September 27th, here on a breaking news edition. Sorry, probably shouldn't hit mute there. What's up, guys? Breaking news edition of Keep PounDENN. Quite the news day for the Panthers and the NFL, as the Panthers announced today that they have actually signed safety Eric Reid to bolster the secondary in a move that was almost assured over and over to never be happening, guys. Welcome back to Keep PounDENN. We are part of the Riot Network, powered by Ortho Carolina tonight. My name's Den. I got Chris to my left, Bobby to my right, and welcome to those of you joining on our various social networks. That would be Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and obviously on the riotreport.com. What's going on, guys? Quickly, for those of you joining in for the first time, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and follow us. I'm at Keep PounDENN. You can see our tags right under our names there. Chris is at PeppaJackNBB. Bobby's at Tacos and Slurpees. Guys, where do we even start with the news of Eric Reid joining the Panthers defense? Because, man, a safety depth chart of Colin Jones and Rashawn Golden basically backing up each other is worlds apart from them being depth to Eric Reid. Man, this is exciting, Bobby. What was your reaction once you figured out this was actually happening and not a report from someone like Rap Shirt or Rap Sheet, you know?
Yeah, man, it was like unbelievable, honestly. Believe it or not, the way I found out was I kind of got it like about 5 or 6 people sending me screenshots of the news. And for some reason, the whole world got it before I did. And I got tagged in a bunch of Twitter posts. It was flat out amazing, man. Like even to this moment, I told someone earlier, I still can't believe it. Like this just unheard of for the Carolina Panthers. Normally, we stay away from controversy. We stay away from issues. But I can honestly tell you, man, David Tepper has made a huge difference. And I am just in utter disbelief right now, man. It's amazing.
Dude, it's nuts, man. But Chris, where were you when you found out the Panthers signed Eric Reid? It's like a moment in history that we're talking about here. I was walking down the hall. I got a tweet that said, "Oh my God, Den," and to me, that could mean anything. It could mean someone had candy corn and enjoyed it, you know, something weird. It could be that we've signed Anquan Boldin. Someone could have found something that worked for me in Madden, and no, I open it up, and it's the official Panthers. We have signed Eric Reid, and today was never the same. But Chris, I think you actually were the first person to text me it, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, and I got a text. I was driving. I was listening to the super depressing Senate meeting today with Brett Kavanaugh and his accuser, and I got a text from my buddy Alex, and he's just like, "It happened." I'm like, "Oh God, what happened?"
Because today that could mean so many things.
It's it really can. And opened it up. He's like, "It happened. We signed Reid," and I'm like, "No way!" Yeah. And like right at that very moment, the Panthers app sent the alert, and that was the screenshot I sent you guys from the Panthers app. That it was real and it had happened. So
yeah, man,
and utter disbelief.
We are live here on the riotreport.com, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Really kind of throwing it out there. Really want to bring in all you guys. What we do if this is your first time here, we like to bring you guys into the conversation. So we're going to put your comments up on the screen. So feel free to let us know what you think about the Panthers signing Eric Reid, or really anything we talk about in the next half hour or so. You know, Skip and Shannon over on Undisputed, we always talk about Skip Bayless, but they're obviously talking about the signing, one of the biggest pieces of news today. And one of the things that was interesting was they were talking about how a move like this, obviously we know what Eric Reid can do on the football field, but as far as the news that surrounds him off the field, with a move like that, that's something that goes all the way up the top, right up to David Tepper, whereas some moves may not have to. And then they were just kind of talking about how in the past, the Panthers, how we've always known them, is the team that would stay away from this person. A person that fits your roster perfectly, whether it's been a wide receiver, someone, any controversy, Jerry Richardson simply would never make this move. David Tepper adds it to his resume of fan favorite moves just in the short time he's been here, really changing the culture here. Bobby, I'm assuming you're wearing the Change Your Culture shirt today, because every time I see you, you have it on, which is fine. There you go. One of you had to have it on. There you go.
I'm actually Panthered out right now. I got on a regular Panther shirt, so.
Very cool. Joan coming in on the comments, it feels like a new day. It is. It's almost surprising because we, again, like I said in the intro, we were assured over and over I won't throw out names, but someone
I
who
will.
works
Joe Person wrote an article in
very
the Athletic
close with
yesterday,
us.
said it's not going to happen.
Josh Klein told me it will literally never happen. And like 48 hours later, here we are live talking to you guys about Eric Reid on the Panthers. Now, don't get me wrong. Eric Reid still has to go play a football game. I mean, being in Boston, you guys have read my Twitter. I go back and forth with people in this city about the Patriots always making this kind of move. Always, if they need a guy, they go get him. They're a team that doesn't say the answers on the roster. They have many answers on their roster, but they can always get better.
Right.
Panthers were never a team that would do that. It's always been, they actually use the word, we're comfortable with Colin Jones starting. And him and Mike Adams with bringing in Desmond Southwood. I thought we were going to see basically what we saw on Sunday kind of through the whole year, as far as not being able to cover the tight ends and us complaining about the secondary and me letting up 900 yards passing in Madden and getting really mad every night.
That's ridiculous, Dan. It's unacceptable.
But here we are, and I want to talk about that. Is this like the smoke screen of the year that the Panthers have put on? Because
I mean, they had to say that. They couldn't tell, they couldn't say, especially, Ron, he couldn't say, yeah, we think these guys are all jabronis. We're definitely going to bring somebody in. He's analytical and conservative, Ron, not Riverboat Ron. And he had to make a calculated statement. He couldn't show his hand. And they could have called him last week. I think last week it didn't make any sense to sign a safety on Wednesday or Thursday because it probably wouldn't have worked out well for the game. Signing him right now, perfect timing.
It is. I'm going to bring in. Oh, sorry.
10 days before the game.
I'm going to bring in some of these comments here. So again, this is what we do, and this is a perfect point. Here on YouTube, we have a comment. I like Colin Jones, but he's not a starting safety. We talked about that in our podcast. I think last week. Which, as a quick side note, it's actually crazy that this happened today because we did a podcast. We were going to do a podcast last night, but we ended up kind of testing out this stuff, seeing how it would work, trying to take a bye week with the Panthers, maybe slacking a little bit. And here's Eric Reid being like, "No, we need you all to try out that stuff that you tried last night."
Right.
But anyway, this is what we do. We bring your comments on. I like Colin Jones, but he's not a starting safety. It's crazy that Colin Jones, to me, is an unbelievable depth player, but a bad starting player. I think that's a perfect way to put it.
I don't think he's bad, Dan.
I think he's bad if he's out there every snap. It's not ideal.
I mean, how many players are actually great every snap, right? I mean, I think a lot of times we really rag on Colin Jones a little bit too much. I don't think he's horrible. We've seen horrible before. But he's not great. He's not the answer, but he's not a bad replacement for the time being. I think and I did see him make a couple plays Sunday. I don't think he was horrible. Yes, he missed about 2 or 3 tackles, but we watched Thomas Davis miss tackles all season last year. Nobody said a thing. So I think Colin Jones, he didn't have the greatest game, but as a backup, I think he served his purpose for that week. I think he served his purpose.
Oh, he's a short-term solution for sure. I mean,
but he's not horrible.
No, my point is if you're going to start him in 16 games, it's not going to be good.
Right, and I agree with the 16 games, but I think everybody's making it seem like, oh, he had a horrible game. Like when you actually look at his game, even if you watch the coach's film, you see it from the overhead view, he didn't make a lot of bad plays, man. He was in on a few plays that he probably didn't get credit for, and I do not believe that he is a horrible option. I just don't think he is a starting option. I think he's solid when it comes to maybe a rotational safety, but he's not a good starting safety. He's not horrible, though.
Yeah, no, we've seen him come in and make plays like in that Packers game. Is one of them that comes to mind. Yeah. So when
there's a role for Colin Jones in our defense when we have him on the field for 25% of the snaps.
I agree.
Oh, sure.
But 100% of the snaps mean you just can't do it. That's the bottom line with it. Again, I feel like we're rehashing all of last week where we all like Colin. We'd love for him to date our daughter. But we don't want him to marry.
Okay,
him.
Chris. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Big Colin Jones
date my
fan
daughter,
over
by the
there.
way.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have one, but
I don't think the deal has been disclosed yet. If it has, forgive me. I didn't see that. It was a 1-year deal.
Did you guys see that Darren Gant reported the Niners made him an offer this week, but he turned it down?
Yeah, and I saw that.
Serious?
Yeah, Josh actually brought that up on Twitter, and it's interesting if Garoppolo was still playing, that might have been a more difficult decision for Eric Reid. But
I don't know. No, because
but
if
maybe
I'm
not.
Eric
You
Reid,
look at
I
the
feel,
defense,
yeah, I
right?
feel burned already, considering that they could have had me back at any time, but now they wait until they're getting me on the cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that if you're a safety in the NFL, playing behind Luke Kuechly, Thomas Davis, Shaq Thompson in that front four is probably
It's way
somewhat
more appealing. Yeah.
appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna bring in another comment here here on Twitter. Very very good point. One of the biggest things was I thought I was nervous that the Falcons were gonna get him, because how many times have we seen a player fit our roster so badly,
Yes.
Go
us
somewhere
say
else.
the answers on the roster, and
Honey
him go to
badger.
a team to bite us?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know,
Well,
I was very. I think that. Do you think that the Falcons and Bucks being in the position that they are forced the Panthers' hand? Like, do you think that was part of why we did this?
no.
Well, I don't think you can make a roster move just so somebody else can't. You know,
Right.
no, that's a fantasy football play. You know,
True.
pick up
That's a
all
good-
the
that's a good
quarterbacks
point.
and put them into a bye week.
Yeah.
But I think the Falcons, because Dan Quinn was quoted saying, you know, he's just not an option for us because we don't have the cap space.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, they're paying a lot of players a lot of money, and they have to roll over what little bit they have because they've got to give out a couple new contracts next year. So I want to say Coleman's a free agent.
Yep.
I think is Keanu Neal up for a deal after this year, or maybe he's the fifth year option. But yeah, he said this is just not an option for us. We'd love to have him, but we don't have room for him.
And I guess
So-
I'm getting some comments about the deal here. It looks like it was a $1 million deal with incentives, max possibility of 1.9 million.
Yeah. Heath Wilson on Facebook just threw that out there. He also said it has a base of 1 million, but includes playtime incentives, Pro Bowl incentives, and per game roster bonuses. Shout out to Heath. Thanks for that, man.
So some of the cool quotes going around as far as this signing. First from Marty Herney saying, "I definitely think Eric Reid helps us improve as a football team. Panthers said that so many times today. This is a football move. We need a football player who can play safety. Eric Reid is one of the best. We can talk about his off the field stuff all day."
He doesn't have any off the field stuff.
Right. You know what I'm
There's
talking
nothing
about.
to talk about.
And he's already said he's not going to
And
protest, so there's nothing to talk about.
He said this is why we made the move. He's a very physical player, and he's got a real knack for the football. And when it comes to the kneeling and all that, obviously we have to address it. I don't think that Eric Reid signs this deal. Well, let me rephrase that. I think that Eric Reid signs this deal to prove who he is as a football player for all what he's gotten lost into in the last year or so.
Right.
I don't think he's going to come in here and be a disruption. I've heard he could be a locker room cancer and all that from people that are skeptical. I'm not buying that. Yeah, Torrey Smith, there's never a wrong time to make the right move. Really cool quote from Torrey. And, Colin Hoggard was actually in the middle of writing a cool piece on the Riot Report that came out today about just Torrey Smith speaking up to management is something that we haven't seen here in Carolina.
Yeah.
So just him doing that period was kind of a new page for this team. As that was happening, did Marty and Tepper have a conversation with Torrey? I don't know. I don't know if he played how much of a role he played in this, but I wouldn't say he didn't play a role.
Well, I don't know if you saw the Panthers did a video today of the players welcoming into the team.
Yeah.
And Torrey was in the building for his part on the video. Everybody else looked like they were in their cars or, at home. But Torrey was in the building, which leads me to think, either A, he met him there, or B, they talked about this yesterday, knew it was going to happen, and were able to get some time with him. But
yeah, they definitely knew. I would honestly say a lot of us were kind of 50-50 on the Torrey Smith trade, sending Darryl Worley to the Eagles. But even if this trade was worth getting Eric Reid, it was worth every bit of it. And I'll say that. We may not have been excited about his play on the field. He's dropped some passes this season. Didn't look too good in the preseason either. But if to me, it's all worth it. Bringing over Eric Reid.
Yep.
Well, everything's
GM Torrey Smith.
Everything's kind of going in full circle here from what we've talked about this year. I mean, I took my L last week on Torrey Smith as a statistical player. I thought he was going to come in here and be a lot more of a playmaker. I talked about that all offseason. He's come in, and let's be honest, he hasn't been.
Well, not just you. I think we all took an L on that. A lot of us believed he was going to do that.
So, but there are people that were saying from the get-go Torrey Smith was a bad signing. But what we talked about was Torrey Smith has things that a team needs off the field, leadership, all that stuff. And you saw it happen here. I mean, just players being on certain teams can bring in other players if you want to kind of look at it in like a basketball way. You know what I'm saying? And I think that Torrey Smith is such a likable guy and does a lot in the community, that I think you have to credit him being a leader in this moment.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely, hands down. I mean, he's been vocal everywhere he's been.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know Chris, probably feels the same about it. I'm excited to see what these guys are doing off the field for our rookies, for our young guys.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to see what Eric Reid is going to do in the locker room for leading guys like Dante Jackson, James Bradbury, even Rashawn Golden. Like, this is so much more than just signing a 1-year deal. This is experience. This is maturity. This is leadership. And I don't know, Chris, how do you feel about it, man?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that that room was missing anything because Mike Adams is 610 years old. But I think that
Right.
this is a guy that's going to definitely push everybody else and make them better.
Sure.
Rashawn Golden, like I know I said from the get-go, I would have started him over Cersei when Cersei was healthy, just because you need to find out with that guy what you got, sink or swim, just find out. But now you obviously don't have to. Maybe he can play that role where he's playing 20 to 25 snaps a game instead of Colin Jones. Side note, did we make a corresponding move with the active roster to clear a spot for him? Or?
Yeah, Lorenzo Doss was waived.
Okay.
Per Jordan Rodriguez. So that's a bummer. I mean, I like Lorenzo, but sorry, Eric Reid's coming to play football.
Yeah, I'd rather, if you made me pick one, I'd probably take Eric Reid.
I bet you would.
Yeah. Anna coming on, our friend Anna on Facebook rather. Apparently, Max Henson did say that they talked to Torrey Smith about Reid. So
Good.
that's
Good.
cool. We'll take it. We'll take that. Hey, you know what's funny too is we were. Another side note, a little behind the curtains here. We were all ready to prepare our explanation about how Facebook's API doesn't allow us to bring in Facebook comments, and they literally fixed it last night.
I told you, I gave you guys the blueprint last night.
So
man.
the timing of this is just impeccable, you guys. But
well, Chris, you wanted us to go live on MySpace, so
I'm still working on that.
Friendster next week.
Still working on that.
Hey, one thing I do want to talk about, and again here on Facebook, Joshua coming in. Swag's going to be through the roof with him and Jackson and now Bradbury. I asked the question, is Thieves Ave back? Like,
I hope so.
Can we say that, or do we have to?
We had 4 interceptions last week, so I think it's safe to say.
I mean, I can honestly say the swag is there, man. This is a little bit more than what I felt when Josh Norman was here, because when Josh Norman was here, it kind of reminded me of, they had the swag, but it was mellow, right? It was like kind of mellow. It was mainly if Josh Norman didn't get amped, the rest of the guys weren't getting amped. But I'm seeing even James Bradbury, who was normally like a quiet guy, I'm seeing him get excited on the field now. You know what I mean? And it's just amazing to see those guys doing it. And, man, I'm telling you, dude, like our offense is already putting up numbers unhealthy. And we really haven't gotten many defensive stops, even though last week we saw some stops in the fourth quarter. But just imagine what this defense can do. Thomas Davis is back soon. Eric Reid is here. Like, telling you, man, this is going to get a little scary for opposing teams.
It is. And actually, Cam said that too. Before I get to that, though, one more comment from Twitter. Carolina, this is true. Carolina has always struggled to attract the big free agents. I think this could be a huge signing going forward as far as wanting to come here. So kind of making the right move. A lot of analysts even praising. Because, let's be honest, it did take a lot of risk and kind of, I don't know. I
guess took a set of balls.
Exactly.
Man.
I was trying to be PC about it, but it took some Tepper brass balls to make this move. I mean, 31 organizations didn't. Number of folks, I forget who. Actually, it was lo and behold, it was Colin Kaepernick who said that Eric Reid should have been the first free agent signed during free agency period, and I agree with that. I mean, a lot of people were pretty surprised when he was still out there on the board. So. Yeah. A thing I want to bring up is Josh Klein's put out on Twitter. I don't have a graphic for it. Sorry, Josh. But from the Riot Report here says, this is the kind of move a team makes that knows their window to win a Super Bowl is currently open.
Yeah, this is just like making the move for Jared Allen, man.
Yeah.
When we did in 15.
And I love that move.
Yeah.
And I wish they would have re-signed him. He wanted to come back. I wanted him to come back for one more year. But
I'll call it a Patriot-esque move.
No, you're not. You're not going to call it a
Patriot-esque my point is they always know.
You're going to call it a Dave Tepper move.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're gonna call it a Dave Tepper move. This is no.
Put a dollar in the Patriots jar.
Fine.
Then I can't let you do it. It's a Tepper move.
All right, let's get on to the more just being honest here. from Twitter, I would ask though, is he ready to play? Do you think he's up to game speed?
Oh, I'm sure he's in shape.
I think it's a good timing with the bye week. I'm
I think the
happy
bye
with
week
that.
is perfect. I think we spoke about this last week. I think we all talked about this. I think we're going to go into the bye week. Some changes are going to be made. But thank God for the bye week, the early bye week, which is working out in our favor. So I really believe this is the perfect time to make the signing. We probably won't see him on the field a ton against the Giants, but you will see him.
We do. I bet he's 50% plus of the snaps. You know what? I'll even say 60%
Wow.
plus.
I'm fine with 60%. I'm perfectly fine with 60%.
I forgot the LSU connection between Dante Jackson and Eric Reid.
Yeah.
Things like that. I mean, they're pretty good at breeding the secondary. So
Yeah.
I'll go back to the photo here of Eric Reid signing his deal here. I know you saw that on Panthers.com. Cam Newton coming in on Instagram, and to quote Cam, scream face, scream face, scream face, scream face, scream face, scream face. Hashtag someone in trouble. One love. I don't know. I love you sign, and then I just imagine Cam dabs every time he writes something on Instagram. So
Me too.
but yeah, Cam even knows. He knows who Eric Reid is. Happy to have him here, and nice to see Cam welcome Eric Reid in rather with open arms. So
For sure. It's good to have him on our side. I can say that.
Let's go through a few more of these comments here. Herney did say Eric Reid was in great shape. I'm sure they have looked at that. Obviously, have to pass physical and all that. So, don't know how long it'll take him to get the defense down. I don't think the Panthers' defense is overly complicated, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to come into it, a safety is a good position to come in off the street and play because he knows how to play football. They're just going to tell him who his assignment is, you know?
Pretty much. Just to go over a few stats here from Eric Reid. 70 games in his NFL career, 10 interceptions. He does have actually, that's interesting because I'm pretty sure I saw him get a defensive touchdown, but
Flag.
Weird. Maybe these stats are wrong, but anyway, 264 tackles in his career as well. So we'll take that.
I'd take all of it.
What number is he going to wear?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting the Panthers put an image out there of him wearing 35.
Yeah, Corn may change his number. Who knows?
Ooh, are we going to do corn puns? I'll do corn puns.
You go ahead.
I did them all today.
We'll wait.
By the way, I'm having this wonderful glass, Roaring Riot glass. You can buy this on theroaringriot.com or roaringriot.com. How about that plug, Zach?
It's not a glass.
It's not a glass. It's like an aluminum.
It's a mug.
Awesome. I'm going to keep your beer cold. And the beer I'm having, I've only literally had before when the Panthers beat the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. So
Is that right?
big day beer right there. Major Tom by Lamplighter here. We went to Lamplighter. Yeah, you did have that. We went to Lamplighter when you were here, Chris.
So am I like? All right. So let me put this out, guys. I'm really getting tired of you.
By the way,
like
hold on. Salesman just joined and he wants us to start over. So we're gonna go back from the top. We're gonna start the show over. And
Salesman, what's up, man?
What's up, buddy? What were you gonna say, Bobby? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say like, I know you guys took a trip and everything, but I'm like really tired of the bragging. So just want to put that out there.
What bragging?
Like the bragging about the special beers you guys get when you go to different locations.
Well,
I'm
just
stuck with like normal 7-Eleven beer where I live at.
7-Eleven beer.
Hey man, there's some good beer.
7-Eleven doesn't sell beer here in Massachusetts.
And like I'm not even like a beer drinker really. So you guys are gonna really have to introduce me to these.
All right.
So you guys can introduce. We'll be on the road in what, a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah, man.
So
it's gonna be a
you
good
guys
time.
can introduce me.
I'll show you. Me and Jamie. Jamie's pretty good at drinking beers.
What's up, Jamie?
Is there any good beer in DC?
Yeah, there might be.
Good beer.
But we'll have some Nota beer. How's that?
Church Key's awesome.
I'm with it.
There you go.
Church Key's great. That's one of the best beer bars in the country. But I don't know there's any local beer in DC.
They sell beer at a church?
Well, no, it's called Church Key.
I'm just kidding, man.
Hey, let's talk about this Panthers week in review, though. Of course, we've talked about Eric Reid a little bit. If you guys have any more comments on Eric Reid, we'll throw them into the chat here. But it's like I said, it's kind of a coincidence that we didn't do the pod last night but we did want to touch upon some of these subjects last night, so we might as well get to them now. Let's get to let's start it off with Cam Newton. Hey, 67.4 completion percentage right now. Absolute crickets on Cam Newton hate Twitter. But more importantly, just this week, I know you guys probably saw Cam Newton though matched Julius Pepper's $100,000 donation to his Hurricane Florence relief fund.
Classless thug.
So pretty cool move there by Cam.
Yep.
But, looking at the schedule before the season, right, I hated the week 4 bye. Hated it. Way too early. You see what happens when teams have to play too many games in a row. But
you saw what happened last time we had an early bye. Super Bowl.
Okay, but in general, Bobby, the early bye worries me. Is that fair?
Well, it naturally it should, but when I saw that we were the team who traveled the fewest miles this season, it didn't worry me anymore. Like at first I was like, gosh, a week 4 bye week, and then the graphic came up that we traveled the least amount of miles from any team. I was like, I'm okay with it. Traveling is what really worries me. The days in between the game, the days that they get ready to travel, that's what really worries me. And plus the injuries we had, man, the early bye week was great for us.
Yeah, and honestly, with the way Thursday night games falls this year for us, mid-November, you get that 10-day break after that. It's not optimal leading into it, but
right.
I think that all in all, it's going to shake out pretty well for us.
But hey, that was
a terrible interception.
Oh, you got the game on. That must be nice.
Oh, no, I'm watching the Carolina game. Chaz Surratt just threw it directly to a Miami defensive end.
Sounds
so for anybody who is keeping an eye on it, just let you know there's a Thursday night game, football, NFL.
Carolina versus Miami?
No, Minnesota's up on the Rams 10-7.
I took Minnesota in that game, as did you,
I took
Bobby.
Minnesota as well.
And I think you took them too, Chris.
Yeah.
Another thing that's really interesting about the Rams right now is we all know Marcus Peters was out, but Aqib Talib actually went on IR today.
He did.
So so it's really, really interesting what's happening to that defense over there. But we know Wade Phillips, man, he's gonna choreograph whatever he has to do over there with their defense. So.
Oh shit, the turnover change back.
Well, hey, let's talk about the Panthers a little more, because going into the bye week, this is amazing. If you look at
Corn
this,
Elder's on the sideline. That's talking about the Panthers.
Hey, throwing Eric Reid into this is just a huge bonus. Obviously, a huge deal. Makes this defense something new. Cam's at 67.4 completion percentage, 4 touchdowns last week. Has 1 interception, which went off C.J. Anderson's face this year, by the way. Our offensive line is nominated for a friggin' award. I mean, who saw that coming? Luke's playing good. I mean, I don't think we've seen him play better, but I didn't even realize he got the last pick of the game. We hopped up here in the studio so quickly. I shut it off at that point. But Ian Thomas has filled in adequately. I mean, I think anything you got out of Ian there is good. I think he's doing fine. F.A. Obata, Defensive Player of the Week. Almost had a sack on the last play of the game as well. Dante Jackson leads the NFL right now in interceptions.
Yep, tied.
Tied. And I put on my notes here, okay, let's get to the negatives. Run defense and safeties. And I'm going to draw a big line through safeties now because I'm not so worried about that anymore. So really this leads us to run defense. And whatever the offense was in Atlanta kind of sucked. But I think that was
it's Atlanta. It's a division game.
And you're in their dome and you lose Greg Olsen, 7 days before. It's a little bit of a figuring out process. Greg Olsen's ahead of his timetable right now. Carolina, I saw on one power ranking because we believe, we really read into those, was ranked 3rd though. What, Bobby? Am I missing any big problems for this team right now besides their hole on defense, on run defense?
No, you are not. The only problem that we have outside of the run defense are the injuries. That is it. I mean, we have seen greatness from this team in different sections. And like again, I'm a huge person to keep bringing up the injuries because that's the only thing that's holding us back, literally. Like we have to me, and of course, being a fan, I'm going to say this, but I think our only flaw is the run defense. Period.
Here on Facebook from Josh again, Chris Clark has been a blessing. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude's been on the team a week and a half and might be like our best tackle in like the last 3 years.
So I got a question about that Chris Clark thing. So, Chris, you normally keep up with the contract number, so I'm going to throw this one at you to see if you recall anything of this nature. Where does this lead Matt Khalil? After this season, Carolina can officially cut him with no penalty. Is that correct?
No, they restructured him in June.
One more year, yeah.
Yeah, they restructured him. So we've got to get through next season as well. And then I think after next season, we recognize like a $2.5 million savings. So it's not great. He'll be here next year unless he retires. So I just can't see them pulling that trigger.
Well, speaking of the IR, because you can only bring 2 of those guys back, right?
Yes, that's correct.
So obviously you have to see. So Greg Olsen's not even IR'd.
Correct.
Darrell Williams is done, right? Done.
No, so that's the thing. Like IR means you only have to miss 8 games.
No, but I mean his leg is done. I don't mean he.
No, I don't. I'm not gonna.
I don't
Okay,
think
I
so.
thought he was done.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think he is.
I'm just wondering. That might be a difficult thing now to who you actually bring back.
I think that you let Cersei go. You know, I wouldn't be
I'm
shocked
okay
if you had like an injury settlement type deal with him, and just release him outright to free up whatever cap space you got there. Yeah, they definitely didn't IR Greg. You know, I don't see any reason. You know, Matt, take your time, buddy. Get healthy.
Yeah, we want to see him.
Hang out at the beach.
We already have one Khalil. We don't. It's just
So this Matt Khalil injury was a re-aggravated injury, correct, from the past?
Yes.
Yeah, he re-aggravated me. Sorry. No, I shouldn't make fun of him. He's injured, but him coming back would be nice.
Ooh, but, see, I got a hot take and some pepometrics here for if Matt Khalil came back.
Yeah.
As you guys know, you're not allowed to breathe on the quarterback anymore.
Ooh.
So think about it. Like,
no,
you got Matt Khalil out there.
You know what? Again, something coming full circle.
What do I do? It's speed bump McGee.
Dude,
I can't just go hit the quarterback. Maybe they play scared against him because he's so bad.
Full circle. Our pal Will Brinson retweeted it out when I think it was a preseason game. Yeah, one of the preseason games was the first time we saw one of those terrible flags get thrown.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this is the new roughing the passer, and I said, wow, we might actually benefit from Cam getting drilled this year. So that's kind of funny.
I'm actually okay with the new rule.
Anna Anna came in again and said, apparently Dave Newton did a story on Chris Clark, and he had a dream that he was protecting for Cam a few weeks before he got signed.
That's dope.
It's time to have another Bolden dream.
Let it go, man.
Devin says he's scared Khalil's getting comfortable doing nothing because he knows he has until next year.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'm completely okay. Like,
yeah, I mean that's the thing. We're screwed. We got to pay him. I'd rather pay him and have him not play.
Like he's actually doing us in this. I hate to say this about an injured guy, but we just got to be real, man. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything on the show, right? You know, we have to be honest here. He's doing us a favor not playing. Matt Khalil is not a good player. Right, maybe he's better as a rotational guy in case somebody gets hurt or what. But
I'll refute that in one way. We haven't seen Matt Khalil play with Norv Turner, and Norv is really good at covering up an offensive line. I'm just saying, we haven't seen him play with Norv Turner.
What if you'd prefer not to see him play with Norv Turner?
That's fine, and that's actually what I do.
Here's the thing. When Remmers left us and went to Minnesota, he was horrible his first few weeks. They moved him to guard, and he's apparently outstanding for them now. Yeah. So maybe all it takes is for somebody to say, "Hey, you shouldn't be playing the outside. Let's move you inside and use your size to your benefit." Cool. I don't know if that's the case with Matt Khalil, but I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Go Chaz.
We literally just got that comment. I wonder if Khalil
what's that?
I wonder if Khalil could play guard.
Hey, there we go. Throw it up.
We don't need him to though.
What I put? So Pinocchio Live said, "Hate to say it, but Peppers needs to step his game up."
What do you think about that
Peppers is like 75 years old. I think we need to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, expectations need to be realistic with him.
Yeah, he doesn't play a lot of snaps. Like if you look at his percentage of snaps, I don't think he played a lot last week. And I think you guys, keep in mind, again, sometimes signings aren't made for a guy. He had 11.5 sacks last year. That's not going to happen again this year. I think that was kind of
and you actually see a lot more of Wes Horton out there this year too.
Yeah.
So
I honestly think guys, remember when you re-sign somebody, it's not always about numbers. Sometimes it's about leadership.
And sorry, Devin. I called Devin a male. It is apparently a female. All I have is names here. I have no photos.
Sue him.
My bad. Now we're fired. So anyway, no. Joan says, "Hey, addition by subtraction with Khalil."
Bingo.
Chris loves that term. Yeah.
Joan is my voice of she's the voice of reason for everything. I love her.
We're going to stay on here for a few more minutes. Hey, guys, thanks for joining in with us. This is kind of our first multi-stream broadcast here. We're pumped to be on all the networks tonight and on the site. Quickly, we are part of the Riot Network, Keep PounDENN. We also have our Riot Network family one-day contract. It is what it is. Roaring Riot podcast. You can find us over on the Riot Report. We do a podcast every week, Keep PounDENN. You can find that on Spotify, Google Play, iTunes. Whatever you use to listen to your podcasts, we're up there, and if we're not, we'll get up there. So
yeah,
good stuff, guys. Hey, kind of under the radar here. Panthers traded this week for an offensive tackle that Eric Reid has ruined. But Panthers did trade for offensive tackle Marshall Newhouse. Made room by waiving the newly acquired Corey Robinson there from the Lions.
Who I don't think got a single snap.
No, actually he did play 3 special teams snaps.
No, those don't count.
Yeah, against Dallas, and they did get their pick back in that. So kind of a
which is probably the same pick. No, they sent a 2021, and he was a 2020 pick.
Yeah.
Was that a protected?
Yeah, he has to. Newhouse has to play. I think appear in 10 games for them to get that pick.
Gotcha.
Yep.
But it's a 7th rounder, so.
Yeah, great question, Puma. Yeah, Eric Reid will be joining us in about 2 minutes. He'll be in here. No, I'm just kidding. Eric Reid is not joining us tonight, but
he's probably knee deep in a playbook.
If he does want to join us, we would definitely have him on, and we can talk about how he's probably a Batman fan.
He wants to, and we will not talk about knees.
Eric Reid,
Eric Reid, any of us want to hear about.
Definitely hates cotton candy, by the way.
Oh, and candy corn.
I mean, cotton candy corn. I'm ruining my own joke.
Chris, you understand that's a hashtag disrespectful. So there you go. You've earned your first hashtag.
I failed by ruining my own joke.
You guys, candy corn. I missed that episode, but candy corn is fucking trash, you guys.
Thank you.
Gosh,
Thank you.
Bad.
Thank you. Hey, we'll throw that up. We'll throw that out there. Get some comments going. Candy corn, yay or nay? Go ahead.
You guys have lost every poll.
Fill up the comments. Hey, one final thing that kind of went under the radar again. Panthers just smashing down walls this week. Dr. Nancy Gritter has been named the lead internist for the Panthers, making her the first woman to serve that role in an NFL organization that, of course, that does oversee internal medicine for the players. So Panthers just absolutely hogging all the awesome NFL news this week in their bye week.
So does that mean the NFL cheats for us and gives us a Super Bowl?
I think so. I think that's how it works.
I'm fine with it if they do. Yeah, I can live with that.
I think that's how it works. Hey, we'll be putting up our NFL picks this week. We have to finish them because Bobby complained about them doing them too early.
I am a disgruntled employee until Saturday because anybody who's here knows that I cannot properly assess a game. Anything can happen. Friday, coach could say,
but Bobby, my point is if I assess the game the same day as you.
Right.
It's not like you get to use a deflated football and I don't. You know what I mean? It's not.
Put $1 in the Patriot jar.
It's not fair.
I want to be able to make a fully educated guess on my decision. You could just be struck with the luck. You could be going based upon, whatever you think. As far as I know, you could be having some inside scoop at the NFL and, know who's playing and know who doesn't.
Well, if I did, I wouldn't be in last place.
Yeah, that's right. That.
I'll tell you
Chris,
that.
I told him last week that I was going to catch him and I was going to pass him. And I did that.
He did.
And I told you last week that I was going to catch you and I'm going to pass you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did the math. Even if I go 500, it'd take you 8 weeks to catch up.
What if you go 0?
Based on your trends. So
hashtag.
Let's just go ahead and end it. It's over.
Apparently, Joan, by the way, has worked
10% for the year.
Joan, by the way, has worked with Nancy for almost 20 years. So.
Oh wow.
Or 20 years, period. So that's really cool.
That's amazing.
Again, hey, follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter names are under our names. I'm at Keep PounDENN. Chris is at PeppaJackNBB. Bobby's at Tacos and Slurpees. We're also on Instagram, Facebook. We're just, we're everywhere. We kind of spread the pod everywhere. So we're going to be wrapping up here soon. We will have to fill up our bulletin board. I'm sure there'll be some bad things to say about the team coming soon.
I hope so.
Just to give you an example, this is kind of where we left off. We take some terrible tweets and we pin them up there. The Falcons kind of won us over there about not having Greg Olsen in an offensive line. Fine, you guys win. But hey, we're gonna take off. We'll be back. We're back here on every post game right after the game. Come talk about the game with us. We'll put your comments on the screen. You saw how it goes. And until then, keep pounding, guys. We'll talk to you on social media. Peace.
One love.
Keep pounding.